Hey friends, so today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to start incorporating you into different areas of my life and things that my husband and I and my children have all been doing for a while now. I want to show that my whole life has not been just based upon plants, but for those of you who are interested, I was going to do a video about how I make kombucha. My husband and I have been doing this for about 7-8 years now, probably about 7 years, since my son David was about 6 or 7 months old. I had a girlfriend who was brewing it at the time, and she had me taste it. It tasted like vinegar. And my husband tasted it. He didn't really appreciate the taste at first, but there are tips and tricks and different ways that we have started brewing it that I pretty much think that we have what we really love a lot. And our kids call it juice. They love it as well. I'm going to show you what I do and the items and additives, things that you don't need to do that I add into our kombucha. But I'm going to just let you know my basic recipe and then we will go from there. So the items I have right here in front of me that I'm using today are, first of all, you are going to need a gallon jar. This jar I picked up at Target for about $5. You probably can find them a little bit cheaper at Walmart or on Amazon. You can get a whole bunch for the price of like $10. You can get like 6 of them. But I got this glass jar. You're going to want glass. You're not going to want plastic. You are not going to want aluminum because you're going to kill the benefit of the SCOBY. Now the SCOBY, this is what it is called. It's also called something else. This is just what I like to call it and what it goes by with me. I guess I've always known it as a SCOBY. Others will call it mushroom tea or fungi. I don't like calling it fungus. But this is what you're going to need. This is the main ball player in the game, is our SCOBY here down at the bottom. If you know a friend who brews it, you're going to want to maybe ask them when they thin out or separate their SCOBYs if you can get one from them. Or if you go to a Trader Joe's, I think, don't quote me on that one, or a really, some of those high-end, really high up health food stores, you can get SCOBY starters and start it that way. But I just basically got SCOBYs from a friend, and your SCOBYs will reproduce when you make your kombucha. They will grow another one, so you'll have more if you want to do more and put another gallon to brew. It's kind of like brewing beer, but not really. I don't know. So you will need a 1 gallon jar. You will need your SCOBY. You will also need the best kind of sugar. It does matter, is either organic sugar, which I get from Costco in a huge, I think it's either a 5-pound or 10-pound bag of organic sugar. So you're going to need that. And then you're going to need green tea. Well, you're going to need black or green tea. I know you can make it out of white tea as well, but I've never done that. I've done it on black with black tea, and I've also done it with green tea. I've done both green and black mix, but green tea has been our absolute favorite. It is a little bit sweeter. It doesn't give you as much of a vinegary taste like some kombucha has. And it's to us, in our opinion, it's the best. And so you're gonna need some organic, no additives. You don't want to get green tea with jasmine in it. You're not going to want to get black tea with tangerine, because the oils from the flavoring or the other herbs that are inside of that will not, the kombucha will not turn out the way it needs to. And the benefits of kombucha is it's high in enzymes. It's got huge amounts of vitamin B in it. It helps to heal the gut. I unfortunately suffer with something called candida. It was after my organ transplant, and that is why I started drinking this, along with my son who is autistic, and trying to heal his gut as well, because our gut is known as our second brain. And I can go into a lot more detail about that if you want me to, maybe in another video, but this is what we're discussing today. So you're gonna need your tea of choice, black, green, or white. You will need organic sugar, and you will need a 1 gallon jar, glass, with your SCOBY. Other items that you will want to, or I choose to have, is a cloth that I like to put over my 1 gallon jar. And I like to place a cloth over it once I have all of my tea inside of the jar, and I will put a rubber band around the lid, or around the rings of the lid, the jar. So those are some extras that I like. You can use, I've seen people use coffee filters, which I've done that too. They just don't stay on as well in my experience with them. Or you can, I highly suggest not using anything aluminum, because there is a reaction between the metal and the SCOBY and the fermentation process that you don't want going on. So just get rid of the metal top and just put it to the side, or put it in a drawer to save for a rainy day. Another thing that you're going to want or need, not necessary, but I do this, is a measuring spoon. I do 8 teaspoons of green tea inside of my kombucha when I'm brewing the tea to go inside to brew it. And so I have a 1 tablespoon, and I'll just do 2 tablespoons, because 4 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. So double that, you get 8 teaspoons, and you want 2. Did I say you get 8 teaspoons, you get 2 tablespoons? I hope that makes sense. And I'll put some of the measurements down below as well. Also, people who don't want to go through the hassle of using loose leaf, I like loose leaf. I've done a lot of research with this. Now, tea that is in tea bags is not bad whatsoever, but you're basically paying for the dust that falls off of your tea leaves when the companies are spreading your tea leaves across on the screens or the tables, and then the dust from those leaves is falling off. Now you're still getting green tea, you're still getting your black tea, your white tea, but they basically sweep all this stuff up, and then they put it in the mesh tea bags that we also pay for at the store. That's why I like loose leaf, because to me, in my brain and the way my brain thinks, I think, well, it's just better that way. So you can also get the mesh tea bags from the store to make it easier, so you don't have to go through the process that I do. I find enjoyment in it, and it relaxes me. So I will just get a sieve and then sieve out all of the loose leaf tea that is used after I have boiled it on the pot. And then for the sugar, I do 1.5 cups of sugar. You can use 2 cups of sugar. You can use 1 cup of sugar. I know some people who do only half a cup of sugar. It's all by your taste and what you like, how sweet you like it, and how long you allow your kombucha to ferment. It's okay, Jeff. I don't care that they hear you. My husband's getting chips for my son. So I do 1.5 cups of sugar. None of this will be left over. A lot of people, especially with diabetics, I used to be diabetic type 1, insulin shots and blood sugar checks. I freaked out about my blood sugar spiking up. Now, I'm not saying this is totally sugar-free, because obviously we're adding sugar into it, but your SCOBY, this fungus that is in your tea, I shouldn't even call it fungus. This I don't even want to call it a growth. This guy eats it. That's his main source of food. That's how he lives. That's how he eats. That's like, these are my pets. And I know some people will be like, that's absolutely disgusting. But what you're buying for in the stores, paying $4 or $5 dollars worth of kombucha, You could be making pennies inside of your own home. And I know some people are like, I don't have the time, so I go to the store and I buy it, but I also see it as saving money. But the sugar, this guy is going to love you for it. He needs it to survive, because if he dies, he will turn black. And I can't believe I'm calling him he and she's. I'm just... So you will need measuring spoons for the sugar. And other additives that, or other things that I like to use, you do not need to use these. I like brewing bottles. In the wintertime, kombucha in our house does not ferment very quickly. And I like my kombucha to be on the line of carbonated but not carbonated. I still like that zing flavor in my kombucha. And so I will get brewing bottles, and I will transfer the kombucha that has already been fermenting on my counter for about 2 weeks into my brewing bottles. Fill these guys up. This is what you call a burp top, or whatever you want to call it. You put it on, I'm not going to do it right now. You put it on your brewing bottle and you close it. Every day in the summertime, it's going to depend on you, because I have had glass crack and almost explode because there's so much pressure from the fermentation process built up inside the glass that it explodes. So every day I will unlatch it, and then I'll go psst, when you open it up, and then I'll recap it, and I'll do that for about a week, just so that I get that bubbliness or that bite that I like in my kombucha. So I use these. You don't need to. You can just put it in one of these, a glass jar, and then set it inside of your refrigerator. So it's all up to you. I got this for like $2 at Target. And then to handle the scobies that are inside of here, they don't like to be touched, especially if you have antibacterial soaps inside of your home. That will kill it, because in essence, this is a bacteria, a good bacteria, a good fungus. So when you're putting hand sanitizers on and you're using antibacterial soap, I can go on and on about this kind of thing. I used to study aromatherapy and good bacteria and bad bacteria. You're getting rid of the good bacteria when you are using antibacterials. So when you touch this guy after sanitizing or washing, you're going to kill him. And so I use a pair of tongs that have a hard, like Teflon or rubberized tongs to handle my kombucha with. I touch him because in my house, we don't use antibacterial soaps. I purchase my specialty soaps from a company that me and my family love. So I use those. And then I will also make another video of me pouring or separating the kombucha into my brewing bottles. And I also like to flavor. You can either do a second brew, or you can flavor it tomato, whatever you like. I know this is a lot of information all for one video when you're just starting to learn this stuff. I place essential oils of my choice inside of my last product before it goes into my refrigerator. We love it. There is a lot of beef with essential oil companies. I have nothing against you using whatever essential oils you want to use, but the only one I trust internally is a brand called doTERRA. And I know some of you probably watching use other essential oils. I'm not putting anyone down, but this is the only one I will place inside or use on or diffuse inside of my home. So I will flavor, I'll put some lemon in there, and it is absolutely delicious. Side note, kind of a squirrel moment. We have had friends come over. We've given them this with the flavoring of my lemon essential oil, which is packed full of D-limonene. D-limonene is a cancer fighting agent. I basically look at it as a warrior to fighting and warding off cancer cells. Does it cure it? No. but if I can help it, I will pop this into my drink to help flush my liver. So we have had friends come over and they're like, this is delicious. What is this? And it's just an art I have learned over the years, and I love it, and I want to invite you in and just show you. So easy. Once you learn it and you keep doing it, it's like second nature to me now. So I hope you enjoy. I'm just going to get the water going and take you up close and personal and show you what I do. When I'm bringing my water to a boil, I highly suggest either using filtered water, distilled water. I would try to stay away from tap water as much as possible. It's just got chlorine, it's got a lot of fluoride in it. I don't like using tap water, and I'm not trying to be a water snob, but that I would like, no. So this is a water filter that me and my husband drink out of. It flushes out chlorine, fluoride. I can't think off the top of my head what else it flushes out. My husband could tell you, but I cannot. And it has these really cool filters inside there. Those filters are no joke. You can actually put 2 more. We have just 2 in there right now. But this is the water I use. It's just like using, like, I guess, spring water that you'd buy from the store, or specialty water. I don't know. But I take some of that, and I'm gonna try to not make you too dizzy. I have got it inside of a huge cast iron pan. Don't mind, it's not dirty, it's just I cook in this thing all the time and it's stained it. I'm gonna bring this to a boil. Now, when you bring this to a boil, you are going to add your tea. I use my green tea, but if you choose to use green tea, you are going to want to bring your water to a boil and then remove the water off of the stove so it's not on the heat source anymore. You are going to set your timer for 5 minutes. The reason why is if you add green tea straight to boiling water, it's going to ruin the polyphenols in there. It's going to ruin the vitamins in there. It will, all of the antioxidants that's inside of your green tea are basically going to cook and dissipate out of your water. I know that's a lot of information, but this is just something I've learned over the years. Now, if you're using black tea, it doesn't matter. You can use black tea and put it straight into boiling water and you will be good. So I am going to get this to boil, and then I will be right back and show you what I'm adding into it. So now my timer has gone off, and I am going, here, hold on. Turn this guy off first. Okay. And then this takes a lot shorter if I was not recording what I'm doing. So like I said, I do 4 teaspoons because I figured since I do 8 tea bags when I have tea bags or when I used them, there's about a teaspoon in each one of those tea bags. So I did about 8. So I did 8 teaspoons of loose leaf, and then I was like, well, Emily, make it easier on yourself and do 2 tablespoons, which would be 8 teaspoons. So it doesn't matter really precise. So there's 1. My water is cooled down enough now that it's not going to destroy my tea, the green tea that I'm using. And the place that I love ordering my bulk wholesale tea that you could get for really cheap, and in huge quantities is a place called Mountain Rose Herbs. I love that place. I've been buying from them for the last 10 years now. I love that place. Love, love, love. Now I'm only using a metal spoon right now because there's no SCOBY in there, so I can mix up the tea in this because I'm not going to be interacting any oxidization into the SCOBY. So I'm going to swirl around the tea. I love the smell of green tea. And then since I cannot do this one-handed, I'm going to then do my 1.5 cups of sugar. Now that I've added my sugar, I'm going to just stir it around. And then after I'm done dissolving all the sugar into this tea, I'm going to let this sit here for about a half an hour, 30 minutes, maybe even longer, until it cools down at least to room temperature. Now I like it to be like slightly warm or lukewarm to add to the jar where my SCOBY is, to my 1 gallon jar, because SCOBYs like to be warm. They like to be warm and they don't like to be too cold. Preferably they will ferment better and they will add more of that bite or those bubbles into your kombucha the warmer it is, and they will ferment quicker. I've seen people put this inside of their ovens, not on, and don't forget that I've done that once before with homemade yogurt. Don't forget that your kombucha is in there when you start the oven. That's why I'm like, I don't suggest that way, but some people will leave their light on in their oven and ferment their kombucha that way. I know people who put their kombucha on top of their refrigerator because it's a warm place. I leave mine either on my stove top, like you have seen in past videos when I do plants, just because it's warmer underneath the oven light on my microwave coming down, and it doesn't get as cold like my countertops do, because I have granite countertops that get pretty cold, especially in the wintertime, fall time season, when that season comes around. And then I've noticed when I have it on the countertop, my kombucha does not ferment very quickly. And I've also gotten questions, I know this was also answered by other people too, if there's any alcohol contained into kombucha. I'm telling you, friends, my friends, there is such a minute, not even giving it a second thought or a second glance with how much alcohol really is produced in this. No, I would say not even enough to even affect a fly. Like, there is not that much alcohol, because I know when people think about fermentation, they think, oh, beer. No, it's not like that. This is a health drink. They would have to label it as an alcoholic drink and sell it in the alcoholic beverages at the store. But there is a minute speck of alcohol that is produced in this, but not enough to even faze anyone, not even a newborn baby. But this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let her sit for about a half an hour, maybe even 45 minutes, just to give it that extra cool down time. And then from there, I will show you, I'll just do it now so it takes less time. Sorry about the sun shining in your eyes. I already made some earlier kombucha, and it's not dirty, it's just from earlier. I made a pot of this already, or a jar of this, and I use a sieve, like I mentioned earlier. I will strain my tea through here so that it catches all my loose leaf tea, and then my kombucha, my little SCOBY, is sitting down there pretty. Now, if it's super hot and you don't want to wait, I used to take my kombucha, I got it all prepared, and I would make it inside of the pot over here. And then once it was sitting for about 15 minutes, what I would do then is, I was really impatient, and there are certain times when I get really busy, things are going on, I just can't have the time to just sit around and wait. Then I would add room temperature water to my boiling water, my tea that's super hot, add up to about, I hope you can tell where I'm pointing about, well, it's easier if I stand up to it. I would fill it about that much more with just the lukewarm water. And then I would add that after it got to about lukewarm straight into its new home. And in that process, feeding my SCOBY. And then I would let it sit for about a week or two. But since I have more time today and it's Saturday and I'm putting around the house and I'm just about to rub down my plants with horticultural oil, I just was like, well, here's a good day to just do kombucha and show everyone how I do that and invite you in other areas of my life. And after my tea is cooled down, I'm going to try and place the camera on the tripod so you will see what I am doing next. Hey guys, so the night is basically over. We went to go run some errands at McClendon's. I wish I brought my phone to do a shop with me there, but I got a couple plants I'll be going over in the near future with what plants I collected in the month of August. But right now I just wanted to show you, finish up this video that's taken forever. I have completely drained out the tea leaves out of the kombucha, and then I am going to fill the rest. Do you see the tea? Sorry, it's my disgusting sink with that drainage. That's so gross. So the tea is about right there, and you can already see my SCOBYs floating along in there. I'm gonna fill the rest up with the water that I have right over there, and I can't chew gum and walk at the same time, so you will have to excuse me until I get it all filled up. So now that I have filled her up the rest of the way with water, you can see my SCOBYs are starting to kind of rise because it is warm in here and it's not that cold. I am going to put a cloth that I have here on the top of this so no dust or bugs or anything can fall in there. It's very warm, nestled right underneath my microwave, and I will show you once I am dividing up my kombucha into the brewing bottles during the holiday season, which sadly we are approaching that very quickly. I will start flavoring my kombucha. You saw that I flavored with lemon, which I love for the wintertime. Well, let's be honest, I love it all year round, but I also love doing a second brew with kombucha, putting like elderberries in there because it's great for fighting sicknesses and flu and coughs and colds. And I also love doing cinnamon. I also love doing sometimes pineapple, but you can do whatever you want. There are many, 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 many ways that you can brew kombucha and flavoring and whatnot. So I thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, I just want to invite you in, showing a little bit of the lifestyle that me and my husband and kids all live, and we will go from there. I am very I'm horrible with technology, I should say, and I'm going to be trying to separating the videos that are more of my lifestyle rather than just plants. And I'm going to see how I can do that on my YouTube channel by separating everything. So not everything, if anybody doesn't want to see this, they will know where to go and where not to go. And you'll know by the titles too that I title my YouTube videos with. So I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you have enjoyed this. All right, I'll talk to you soon. God bless. Bye.